We're back on the Coyote Coach's Corner. I'm joined now by Johnny Edmonds, Texas Rodeo Hall of Famer. Coach, thanks for joining me. I know you had a long weekend in Clarendon, Texas, I understand.
Yes, we did. Thanks for having me. But, yeah, we just finished up in Clarendon, and, there's 600 entries and about 20 hours worth of rodeo.
It's fantastic. We'll talk about Clarendon in a second. Let's talk coming off a national championship for the women's team, another national champion and an individual guy. And how was that this summer and building up to this year? Did it impact recruiting? Was that a little bit different spice for you coming off that this summer?
Yeah, it was a great feeling. And as far as recruiting goes, we kind of already had our recruiting done for this year. But I've noticed this year I'm getting a lot more phone calls and more emails and things like that. So I think it will affect our recruiting this year.
I remember you talking about you were doing great in the timed events, but maybe you wanted to beef up your rough stock a little bit. How's that going?
It's going good. This year we recruited a saddle bronc rider who actually qualified for last year's CNFR. We also have a bull rider that is currently, he finished 25th in the PRCA World Standings last year. So those guys, they've missed a couple of these first three rodeos because of their pro rodeo circuit finals, but starting this week, everybody's available for both rounds, and I'm looking for them to make a difference.
Now, if you don't mind, for the rodeo novices, me included, Can you explain the difference in rough stock versus the timed events?
Well, rough stock's your bull riding, bareback riding, saddle bronc riding, where your timed events are your roping events and steer wrestling.
Barrel racing.
Okay. Sure.
Very good. All right, so now we're smack dab in another season. What is this? I think you've had 3 rodeos now with Clarendon, and you had an all-around cowgirl this past weekend. Tell me about that.
We did. Sophie Dunn, she qualified for CNFR in 2021, but she was the only girl out of 200 that placed in 2 events this weekend. So that tells you how tough the girl side of things is, but she did good.
So we were talking about this with, I think she finished 7th overall maybe in both events, but because there are so many competitors, if you finish top 10 in 2 events, you've got a really good shot at winning the all-around.
Sure, because most every rodeo, there's only 1 or 2, maybe sometimes 3 people will place in 2 events. So it's pretty rare for that to happen, especially on the girls' side with, like I said, 200 girls. And the girls' events are super tough,
So Clarendon, any other highlights you want to talk about from what happened in Clarendon with your team?
Well, Zane Makita, he's a sophomore. He's placed at all 3 rodeos now in the tie-down roping, and he's actually leading the Southwest region. But he won the roping this weekend, and he won 5th at Alpine and 5th at Portales, so he's off to a great start.
Clarendon is a long way away. I don't need to tell you that because you just got back last night. Tell me a little bit about the schedule of a rodeo week, not only for you but for your athletes. It can be a really long week.
It is. Southwest region is the largest region in college rodeo. There's over 600 kids, makes up 900 entries. This past week on Thursday, we started at 5 p.m. We got done at midnight. Back out Friday morning at 8 a.m., got done at 3 in the afternoon. Came back to the rodeo at 6, got done at midnight, and then the same thing on Saturday. So they're super long.
Super long, and they're never very close to Weatherford, Texas. I guess Stephenville's the closest one, but you're Portales, New Mexico, and Clarendon, Texas, and it seems like it's always, 5-6 hours away?
Yeah, for the most part. I tell our recruits that when they come visit. On average, we travel 6,000 miles a year to and from the 10 rodeos, so it's quite a bit of driving.
A lot of people don't realize that those athletes, a lot of times that's on their dime.
Yes. I mean, they provide their own truck and trailer and horses. And, back when my daughter rodeoed, I know because I paid for it, but she averaged about $400 a rodeo in expenses.
Wow. Unbelievable. Johnny Edmonds, the head rodeo coach for Weatherford College. So what do we have left in this semester, and how much of a break is the team going to get before you get after it next semester?
Well, this weekend we go to Vernon, Texas, and then next week we finish up this semester at the Texas Tech Rodeo in Lubbock. And then we're off until February. We go to Odessa in February. We'll have 1 rodeo in March and then 3 in April.
Do some of the athletes rodeo in the between time as well?
Oh, yeah, they rodeo every week. There's a lot of our members have their PRCA cards or permits, and they're going to pro rodeos, amateur rodeos, pretty much on a weekly basis all year long.
So as you finish up this semester and you get into Christmas and all that, and we start looking for the spring when, you get the CNFR right in your sights there, give me some names that we need to pay attention to that we think we might be able to hear about and possibly head into Casper.
Well, last year's CNFR qualifiers, Brady Good and Bree Wells is still with us, and I expect and hope they do well. Our national champion team roper, Jace Helton, is still with us, and he should hopefully get back there. Like I said, Zane Makita's off to a great start. Chance Thiessen, I expect him to do well this year again. I mean, possibly both events like he did 2 years ago. Cash Enderley, last year's CNFR qualifier, is still with us. We got some 4 or 5 really talented freshman calf ropers, and, I'm looking for them to do well. Avery Matheson, Arkansas high school champion last year, has already placed once. Cash Fees from Kansas has placed twice already. Cole Clemens from Florida, he's winning the UPRA, which is the Texas Amateur Association. He's leading that for the season. So we got several that would, have a good shot at it.
And then finally, who are some alumni that either at universities or on the pro rodeo circuit that have done well the last several weeks?
Well, our former CNFR bull rider, Jared Parsons, he qualified for the national finals this year for the first time. We have Jordan Briggs, who won the world title in barrel racing last year. She's also goes back to the NFR in first place this year. I think Tyler Milligan, a former student, he qualified for the NFR in tie-down roping. So we got several doing well out there.
You got a lot to pay attention to. You've got you got only the kids you have now, the kids you used to have, but also some of these recruits you're watching after. I don't know how you keep up with all of it, Coach, but I hope that the next few days you get a little rest before you head to Vernon. And by the way, your alma mater, I understand.
Yeah, I was actually the first person that ever qualified for the college finals for Vernon College back in 1986. Yep.
Wow. Johnny Edmonds, you're doing a fantastic job. Thanks for the time. Let's visit again when we get back for the spring semester as we start thinking about Casper.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Johnny Edmonds joining us on the Coyote Coaches Corner. Real quick look at the calendar for the rest of this week. You've got women's volleyball at Hill College this coming Tuesday. A couple of scrimmages for the basketball teams, baseball and softball scrimmaging on Wednesday. Women's volleyball at Ranger College on Thursday. And then, as Johnny mentioned, they're heading to Vernon this coming weekend. The last time to see the volleyball team at home will be this coming Tuesday night as the Coyotes take on Temple. That's it for the Coyote Coaches Corner. I'm Brent Baker for the Coyote.